think a common just roadblock that a lot of people find in their marriage, especially when you've been married for a long time, and maybe not even a long time, is just it's easy to start assuming what the other person thinks and feels. It's like, well, I've been married to you. Clearly I know what you think. Clearly I know your motive, and we just start assuming things about each other instead of really taking time to listen and try to understand, like, what is this other person, my spouse, actually saying? What are they actually feeling? What does the world look like from their perspective? And why are they having a certain reaction, or why are they having energy around a certain thing? It's like just sitting and listening to each other. I think that is just a key part of what I try to do as a marriage therapist, almost like be a translator between the couple, of like trying to really listen to one person and just dial into their experience, and then help them be able to package that in a way that they can share that with their spouse, hopefully in a way that their spouse can have ears to hear them, maybe in a new way, without just assuming they know or think, they know what the other person's thinking or feeling. So I think that's just it's just listening to each other, and then knowing how to respond to each other, knowing how to respond in a way that you don't have to agree with everything each other is saying, but can you leave your own experience and put yourself in the other person's shoes to try to understand how they're experiencing the world.
Not perception, perspective.
Their perspective, take it on their perspective and just trying to understand, like, what are they saying? Why are they feeling this way? What's that like? Because we all have different experiences, but I think there's a pretty common set of emotions we all feel, different sets of details. But if we can kind of get in touch with, like, I think my spouse is like really afraid right now. What are they afraid of? Well, I've felt fear before. Okay, tell me more about your fear. What is that like? Or you're feeling, angry. Why are you angry? Like, were you hurt in some way? Just trying to understand the other. I think what it does is, as we like lean in closer to somebody else's experience, and probably is what you're doing, interviewing people, you start to have more compassion for people, because you start to hear, wow, if I were in their shoes, I probably would feel the same way, and it leads to more compassion, which allows you just to lean in closer to the other person.
But you have to be flexible enough to even ask yourself, am I doing good as a spouse? Am I willing to listen to my spouse?
Exactly.
You have to be open to that.
Which takes a lot. It takes a lot, because a lot of times they're hurt. Your spouse is hurt. You were probably a part of that hurt, and so for them to have space to share about why they're hurt or why they're upset, well, that's it's kind of hard to hear. It's easy to get defensive when you're like, I know I played a part in that, or maybe I played all the part, But just to take time that can diffuse a lot. That can diffuse a lot of conflict, a lot of like a lack of intimacy that a lot of people feel. It can build trust. It can build security. It can build, just an openness that, we're going to make it. Like, even if we have hard things, which we all have hard things, if we can talk about those things, like we can get through this together.
Communication.
So, yeah. Yep.
Anything else you can think of?
I think that's kind of like the grid for all the different types of problems people, face.
Everything based on that.
Yeah, it's like, how are we communicating? Are we making assumptions about each other? Are we, there's all kinds of other, marriage issues and things like that. But I think that's kind of a basic thing that a lot of people just didn't learn how to do growing up. They didn't have that modeled for them in their relationship with their parents, or they didn't see their parents having open dialogue and conversation. And so it's hard to know how to do that as an adult if you've never witnessed that or been on the receiving end of somebody really listening to you and really entering your world and trying to understand your perspective. It's hard to then give that away if you've never been on the
So do you
receiving
think
end.
you can learn that? Or it's just to come natural? You can change yourself, right?
I think you can learn. I think some people have just more of a natural bent towards listening or being empathetic, or, but I think we can all grow in that and just in practice doing that. That's why this particular, I'm drawn to this conversation movement I was saying to help students, because I'm like, if I could have learned some of this in high school, of just like how to have conversations with people on just even a basic level of just listening to one another, responding to them, taking action. Now that you know some things about what's important to somebody, then you can take action to try to meet their needs or do something that would be meaningful to them. Those are just kind of basic relationship skills that somehow we've missed passing those on, but I think they absolutely can be taught and they can be learned. Yeah.
What is the name of this organization?
It's called Whisper.
Whisper. Is it in Georgia, Atlanta?
It's just Georgia specifically. Started in Atlanta at Lambert High School with a couple of seniors, specifically one who just really had a passion for her school and changing the culture in her school, and that kind of spread like wildfire, and now is started in other schools as well.
And there's a website how people can.
Yes,
get
it's called
connected.
hearthewhisper.com.
Hearthewhisper.com.
Hearthewhisper.com. Yep.
Okay.
Yep. So thanks.
Awesome. Thank you so
You're
much.
welcome.
Thank you.